Good afternoon, everyone. Say hi if you're there or hashtag replay if you're watching this on replay. I hope you've all had wonderful weeks and you're excited about the bank holiday weekend. I hope you've got loads of amazing plans with your loved ones and getting out in the sunshine as well. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Now, last Friday was incredible. Thank you to everyone who came to the DJ Aerobics with Sounds of Sham. It was phenomenal. And also thanks to everyone who came along to the practice walk on Sunday. It was tough, but it was a really, really good practice for the Yorkshire 3 Peaks Challenge next week. Now, team, I have filmed your monthly updates, which is where I tell you everything we've been working on in the past month and everything that's going to be coming up in June. So definitely make sure you go and check that out this weekend. I'm sending you an email with it on, but also you can actually access it on the website already if you want to just go and have a little sneak peek. And Tuesday, we're going to be welcoming in our brand new squaddies, so make sure you say a very warm welcome and a hello. And if you've got any friends that want to join us, it's not too late, by the way. And don't forget, you've got the refer a friend, so they get 15% off and you get that back too. Right, are you ready for the questions? There's some wicked questions. Let's get straight on with it. And if you think of anything in the meantime, pop it in the comments, gang, and I'll be happy to answer. So, number one. Hi Lorna, I'd like to ask, what actually causes cramp? I've been having it quite badly in my legs for a while now. Is it because I'm so rubbish and I'm not stretching enough? Now, it's not because you're so rubbish. Don't put yourself down. Don't talk to yourself like that. It can be for so many different reasons, but I'll run through a few. It can be from muscle fatigue. So if you, for example, if you've been doing something really intense, or if you've been standing in the same position for a while, prolonged standing, it can cause cramps. It can also be due to dehydration causing an electrolyte imbalance in your body. So that might mean that, sodium relative is low, and potassium, calcium, magnesium, they're your electrolytes in your body. They might be relatively low if you are dehydrated. And similarly, it might be an electrolyte imbalance. So you might not have enough sodium or potassium or calcium or magnesium in your body, which is causing the cramps. It can also be due to poor blood circulation. It can be due to nerves, as in your nerves, like in your body, not being nervous. Nutritional deficiencies in magnesium, calcium, and vitamin D, actually. And it can also be caused by some medication. So there's so many different things. And I think what you've got to make sure, just make sure you're controlling the controllables. Make sure that, if you're holding a position, say like in Pilates, I know Anna said as well, when she does Pilates, she quite often gets it in her feet. And I think Claire mentioned that too. Get it in your feet and your calves. It might be because you are literally over pointing your feet. You are almost straining that muscle a little bit too much. So think about relaxing. Like, yes, you can point your toes, but we don't need to really, really point the toes because that could bring on cramping in both the calves and the toes. Like if you do that now, you can just have a little go, point your toes really hard down to the floor. You can feel it. You can really feel it in your feet and your calves. And I'm really sorry if that caused anyone cramp, by the way, by doing that. So if you get it in Pilates, try to think about, yes, engaging the muscles, but not overstraining them. So when you're pointing your toes, for example, rather than thinking pointing from the toes, think point down with the ankle. And it's a slightly different feel, actually. So if you find that you're getting it in Pilates, that could be a reason. So because you're holding it in that position for a long time, it could be because you are overstraining it or maybe working the muscle a little bit too hard. It can also be a technique thing. So just make sure you are doing everything in your power to do proper, full, efficient technique. And think about those little cues, like I said, pointing down with the ankle rather than pointing from the toes. And then it really is about controlling the controllables. Tick off your technique, make sure you're properly hydrated, and it might be worth looking at your nutrition and thinking about your electrolyte imbalance or balance. I hope that helps, and if it's anything you are concerned about, and if it is something that is happening, outside of those sessions and you've tried to do these things that I've said, I would go and seek medical advice just to be on the safe side, and if anything, just like a bit of peace of mind for you too. Question number 2. Oh, this is in 2 parts actually. Okay. Eating after certain times, is it true or is it another myth? It's absolutely a myth. It really is. It's a load of, I don't even want to say the word because I'm going to say a rude word, but it really is a load of that rubbish. It's all about your overall calorie balance. So are you in a calorie deficit or not? Calories out higher than calories in, then you're going to lose weight. If it's the other way around, you're going to put it on. And if it's about the same, you're going to maintain your weight. It doesn't matter when you eat your food in terms of fat loss and gaining or losing or maintaining your weight. It does not matter. The only consideration with food timing, there's two actually. Making sure you've got enough fuel for your workouts and replenishing your fuel after your workouts, so around the workouts. And then before you go to bed, you probably don't want to have a massive meal before you go to bed, like as in literally before you go to bed. You want to have a bit of time for your body to digest. Otherwise, when you go to sleep, you might find that you're quite awake because your body's trying to digest the food rather than sort of wind down for bedtime. So I would leave, different studies say different things. Speaking personally, I leave after like my evening meal at least a couple of hours before I go to bed, and I might have a real small something before I go to sleep. In fact, no, I usually do, but that's because that works for me. You've got to find what works for you in terms of your sleep, but that's probably the only caveat in that one. It depends on what your body wants, how you best function, and your own individual preferences. Second question. Deep sleep. I read online that for a good night's sleep, we should have approximately 25% of our sleep as deep sleep. Have you got any ideas on how to increase it? I'm on only about 40 to 60 minutes a night. I have a bedtime routine and don't do caffeine at all. I do yoga. I obviously exercise. I eat healthy, etc., etc. Is there anything I'm not doing, or could that just be my natural levels? So first of all, you have to think about, how do you feel on this sleep? How do you feel on the amount of sleep you're getting at the moment and the amount of deep sleep I'm presuming your watch is telling you you're getting? And remember, you can't fully rely on these devices. How do you actually feel? That is the best measure. And if you're concerned or worried about it, it might be worth having a little diary and keeping a bit of a track of it for a while. In terms of the stages of sleep, so just really, really quickly recap this. You've got 4 stages of sleep. That is your light sleep, your REM sleep, which is your rapid eye movement, and that happens after your deep sleep. Okay, let's do it in order, Lorna. Do it in order. So you've got your light sleep first, then you have your deep sleep. So your light sleep gets you into your deep sleep. Then you have your rapid eye movement sleep, and that is where your body is repairing cognitive function. The deep sleep is where your body is basically repairing the muscles, so that's more like the physical side. And then you have your wake, which is, in the night, where not necessarily where you're wide awake and you're getting up and you're going to the toilet, just naturally where you are kind of awake, you're more awake. They're the 4 stages of sleep. Ideally, studies suggest that you should spend about 15 to 25% of your sleep in a deep sleep. This is also known as a restorative sleep, and it is where your body is improving its immune system. It's where your muscles are repairing themselves, and it is a really important part of sleep, but it's not something to worry about too much. So if you have a really poor night's sleep, what actually tends to happen is the second night, so the night after, your body makes up for the poor night of sleep by making you stay in a deep sleep for longer. It's basically on a catch up. So it's nothing to get too worried about. The best thing you can do, again, it's going back to the controllables, isn't it? Just make sure that you've got a very consistent bedtime routine. Make sure that you have a proper wind down routine as well. And it's great that you're not having any caffeine or anything. If you're listening to this and you're someone who just struggles with sleep, I would think about maybe pushing your caffeine slightly earlier on in the day. Like say if you have your last cup of coffee at 4 o'clock at the moment, can you make it 12 instead? And see if that makes any difference. And make sure that your room is dark, it is cool, it's not too hot. So you're preparing yourself for a really nice environment, making sure that all you kind of do in your room, you're not doing any work in there or anything. Because I know a lot of people sometimes will sit in bed at night with a laptop or whatever. Make sure that your room is literally used for sleep, so you start to associate the room with going to bed. And if you are someone who struggles with sleep, after 20 minutes, if you're still not asleep, get out of the room and go and do something else. Because then the last thing you want is your brain to start associating that room with the fact that you can't sleep. So bedroom is for sleep, and your body and your mind will soon get used to that. So consistency, also not having any alcohol close to bedtime, that really disrupts deep sleep. So consistency, alcohol, and preparing yourself for that nice bedtime, wind down routine sort of thing. I hope that helps. In terms of the alcohol one, obviously we're talking about a day-to-day. I'm not saying that if you've got like a party or a dinner thing to go to that you can't have a drink. I'm just saying on, the average daily basis sort of thing. Right. I have chunky calves. Getting boots can be a nightmare. Is there anything I can do to slim them down? Now that's a bit different from how to get flat abs, because that was the question from last week. So, you know what? Embrace your calf muscles. That's what we should be doing. Genetically, we are all different. Genetically, we're going to hold muscle, fat in different areas more than others and more than other people. Just embrace it. Embrace your body and what it does for you. Now, in terms of getting smaller calves, like your calves are a muscle. And by doing exercise, we're working them, we're increasing our longevity, we're improving our health, our quality of life. If you wanted slimmer calves and don't work out, but I'm not going to prescribe that. I'm not going to advise that at all. And what I would say are, so just a couple of little things here. So one, obviously, of course, embrace your body and what it does for you. Absolutely, 100%. Number two, are you doing a lot of things on your tiptoes? So a lot of people that have really good, I'm going to say good, strong calf muscles, or say big calf muscles, sometimes spend a lot of time on their toes. And that might be with the way that you walk, or it might be the way that you run, or some of the exercise you're doing. Just notice it. And if it doesn't cause you a problem, that's fine. Sometimes it can, biomechanically cause problems. I'm just saying that can that can have an effect if you spend a lot of time on your tiptoes. And the things that you can do, just really carry on doing what you're doing your workouts, because you're doing amazing with them. And maybe work on lengthening the muscles, so in terms of releasing it, bit of mobility, some stretching, some yoga. Work on that side of things. And one thing I'm going to say here is I do get the question a lot, like, Lorna, how can I say, I know this is a muscle, but say lose fat in this area, like on my hips, on the back of my arm, on my stomach, wherever it is. It is impossible to fat spot reduce. So you cannot choose an area on your body and lose fat in that exact place. We are genetically disposed. Is that the right word? We are genetically disposed? I think that's the right word. To lose fat in certain areas faster than others, and to lose fat in areas before other ones. So we can't actually choose where we lose it. Just make sure you're sticking to a healthy balance in every way. And just embrace your body. Embrace it. You should be proud of your strong calves. Why not? So moving on, doing a class at night. Often I do a class after my boys go to bed. Is this of any detriment? Obviously, I know a chill class is beneficial. However, would strength or cardio or HIIT also be okay? I don't have any issues with my sleep. If you don't have any issues with your sleep, it's not a problem. If it doesn't affect you in any way, and it doesn't affect your sleep quality, it's not an issue. The reality is, you've got to find what works for you. You've got to fit in the workouts around your schedule. And if you find that when your boys have gone to bed, that is your time, then fantastic. That's great. That is brilliant. And fit that into your routine. And if it doesn't affect your sleep at all, great. You can do whatever you want. I would just, if you're worried about, say, doing a HIIT workout and then it affecting your sleep, why don't you try it? Try it and just see what happens. Or try it a few times. I suppose you can't just do it the once and be like, yep, doesn't work. Try it and just see what happens. One thing I would say is if you're going to do like a HIIT workout later on in the evening, just make sure you've got some sort of wind down after it. So maybe you would do HIIT followed by a bit of stretching or a bit of yoga or something like that. But yeah, let me know how you get on. And one more if you got time. Yeah, of course I got time. Hip clicks when rotating the leg. Could it be hip or a muscle and a sign of poor core engagement? No pain is being experienced. Okay, if you get clicking with your hips and it doesn't cause you any pain, generally speaking, it's not a problem. As always though, if you're worried about it, please do go and seek medical advice. I'm not a medical professional, but generally our body's very good at telling us what is right and what is wrong. And if it's causing you any pain, it is saying, okay, we've got a problem here. But it could be for lots of different reasons. So sometimes you'll get like a tendon or a muscle or a ligament basically moving over bony structures, and that causes like a little clicking noise. So it could possibly be that. And that also could be due to like a tightness in some of those, say like, your tendons or your muscles. It could be a tightness in that is causing that if it doesn't normally happen. But it is harmless. And another thing that it could be hip joint instability. That sound is a bit more of a like a popping or you might say like a clunking sort of noise. That could be an indication that you're not engaging your core efficiently, if there's a bit of hip instability there. And one thing that I would really focus on with that is doing Pilates. And maybe, like I said, if it causes you any problem or it's causing you to get pain elsewhere in your body, going to see a medical professional about it, or maybe like a physio to sort of adjust that and kind of have a look at your hips, your pelvis. But that could possibly be a reason. But as I said previously, no pain, generally no problem. All right, next one. What are your thoughts on taking electrolyte tablets? I feel better when I take them, but it's just out of curiosity. I mean, if you feel better when you take them, there really is no harm. Generally, when you have electrolytes, it can be for a few reasons. Normally, you'd have electrolytes if you're doing like intense or prolonged exercises where you might get a bit of an electrolyte imbalance. So say you're sweating excessively. Say you're doing a race and you're going to be sweating excessively. And you might get a bit of an imbalance of your electrolytes like magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium. Or it might be if you're just like a generally sweaty person anyway, or it's the summer and you are really hot and you're really sweaty, it can be useful. There is no harm in it at all. One thing I would say though is if you feel like you're relying on it, it might be worth looking at your diet, because ideally we wouldn't be relying on taking like electrolyte supplements. We would be getting these from our diet. So it could be worth looking into that. Another reason it could be is for medical reasons, say if you're on particular medication or whatever. But generally there's no real harm. I would just, like I said, maybe question why you're doing that and have a look at your diet. And if you've got an all-round balanced diet and you feel like the electrolytes really do help, then I don't really see why you can't use them or have them. Anyway, I hope that was really useful, gang. That's our Q&A for today. They are all the questions, and thank you for the questions. They're absolutely brilliant. Every week, I just love doing this. I love chatting with you guys, and I really hope you find it useful. And like I said at the beginning, I wish you a wonderful bank holiday weekend. I will see you on Bank Holiday Monday because I put a special class on. It is a 45-minute stronger versus combat versus yoga flow. So you're going to be getting a bit of strength work. So make sure you bring your barbell, or if you've not got a barbell, some hand weights, or some tins if you've not got them. Then we're going to be doing combat for a bit of cardio, and we'll be finishing with yoga flow for a nice mobility stretch right at the end. It's going to be brilliant, and you get a special achievement for it to go in your achievements area. Whoop, win-win. Have a great bank holiday, everyone. Enjoy the sunshine, and I'll see you on Monday.